Hey, everyone. Hi. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Alison.
Hey now.
Greg, what are you doing here?
Hey, what do you mean? Alison,
Where'd you come from, Greg?
I came from the world of Childish, and I just want to make sure that your listeners know that you're just as wonderful on the other podcast you do.
What if they don't have kids?
Don't need them. You don't need them. A lot of our listeners actually tell us they don't have kids. We talk about sex.
We talk about all sorts of dirty stuff, but also parenting stuff.
Yeah, so.
Check out Childish. New episodes every Wednesday, wherever you listen to podcasts. You guys, I lied. I said the show was starting right now, but I have one more quick announcement. I'm co-hosting a new podcast. It's brand new. It's called Upworthy Weekly. I'm co-hosting it with a guy named Todd Perry, who I'm having so much fun with, although he is wrong about so many things, especially Christmas music, but also other stuff. But anyway, Upworthy Weekly, we come out on Saturdays. Please give it a listen, subscribe. If you like what you're hearing, leave us a comment, a review on Apple Podcasts. That helps out the show so much, especially because we are brand new. As I've said, between 1 and 4 times right now, I've lost track. But anyway, please give it a listen. It's a lighthearted news podcast. We're taking a look at the most popular and engaging stories from the week before that ran on Upworthy. And it's just what your holidays need. And then when we're past the holidays, it's just what that part of the year needs. It's just exactly what you need. Please listen to it. Upworthy Weekly, new episodes every Saturday, wherever you get your podcasts.
And now, live from Pod Cabin in Burbank, California, it's the Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend show. Tonight, Alison welcomes your guest. He's a comedian, writer, and actor who lives his life 1 quarter pounder at a time. It's Joe DeRosa. And she's a producer and writer who likes her music like she likes her ramen with extra noodles. It's Robin Shorr. Tone Zone is here to assert that you don't have to be stuck in the Canadian wilderness to enjoy eating an entire women's soccer team. I'm her husband, Daniel, saying hop on board the Love Bus and say hello to your new best friend, Alison Rosen.
Alison Rosen. Alison Rosen is your new best friend. Alison, with her the good times never end. Alison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Allison's your new best friend.
Hello, my little Tony's Chocolonely Pretzel and Toffee Milk Chocolate Bars. That particularly lengthy carbohydrate was sent in on Patreon. By Jenny Carr. Yes, I'm on Patreon. All sorts of stuff. There are episodes, bonus episodes of my Patreon podcast called The Friend Zone. Recently did an episode with our own Tony Thaxton. Also just did one with my Upworthy Weekly co-host Todd Perry. So that's fun. There's a level where you can text me and I'll text you back. We do Zoom parties. You can submit carbohydrates. You can get some behind the scenes content, fun stuff. And if you sign up for a year, you get 2 months free. So it's 12 months for the price of 10. Again, that is patreon.com/Alison Rosen. I'm very excited for this group of people, one of whom I just found out from my husband mere moments ago. The last time he was on the show was like a week before I had Elliot, who's turning 5 this week. So it's been a while. Hello. Welcome back, Joe DeRosa.
Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, that's right. Thanks for having me. I forgot you were pregnant the last time I physically saw you.
Yeah.
In person saw you, I guess I should
right.
say. But.
I was probably so pregnant that I wasn't even sitting on a chair. I was sitting on a big bouncy ball.
That does ring a bell. That sounds familiar. But yeah, that's wild. I can't believe it was 5 years ago. My God.
I know. And now I know. So we got to catch up because now you're in New York. You're running a sandwich shop. You have, I think, multiple podcasts.
Yeah.
So we'll get into all of that.
Sure.
Robin Shorr, hello. Welcome back.
Hello. Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
Since you were last on, Daniel and I have watched Yellow Jackets. And big part of, loved it. But a big part of why I watched it was because you gave it such a hard sell. And I can't handle horror, and it definitely had elements of horror, but I enjoyed it. So it leaves me wondering, would I actually enjoy horror? Because I sort of liked. Okay,
because I think the show is made with people like us in mind who would want to see a show about soccer girls, a soccer team from 1996, but can't handle the gore. Like I feel like the way they tee up the gore, it gives you just enough time to hide your eyes.
Yes, although it wasn't really even the gore that was so bothersome. It was the scary, potentially like supernatural, but are they or aren't they elements? That's what always gets me. So we'll get into all this real fast though. Joe, have you seen it?
No, but I have a horror focused podcast, and my co-host and partner Pat Walsh on that show, he speaks very highly of it. I just haven't seen it because I don't have Showtime and I can't add another. I can't.
Yes.
It's too many.
I get that.
You got too many streaming things going on. It's crazy. Like I'm subscribed to stuff I forgot I subscribed to.
But it's been endorsed by a true horror person. So therefore, I think of myself as a real like wimp pussy, but clearly I've got what it takes if I could handle this show. I didn't even have nightmares or anything.
It's not.
And I can't say the same. I think after the first episode of Westworld, a show which is not horror, I remember feeling creeped out. So anyway, Daniel, hello.
Hi. What were you going to say, Joe?
I was just going to say there's all kinds of horror out there. It's got as many subgenres as as rock or whatever. So I think there's horror for everybody. There's something that suits everybody's taste. It sounds like Yellow Jacket suits your taste.
Well, here's the thing. What I liked about it was it's an addictive show in that, and I never saw Lost, and from what everyone, except for Bobby Moynihan, who's like the world's biggest Lost fan, but everyone else is like, it's just going to break your heart. Like, don't invest all that time.
I loved it also.
Oh, really?
Yep. I'm not one of the
Hi,
haters.
Tony.
Hi.
I know the only two, because Jenna Kim Jones is very angry at that show. But anyway, so it's very addictive in that you're like, what's going on? I gotta watch to see what's going on. Mm-hmm. And I was asking Daniel, hello Daniel, is that an aspect of horror? Not really
necessarily. I think that like Joe said, there's different kinds of horror.
So I guess like a mystery horror I would enjoy as long as it's not something that's going to make it so I can't sleep.
I would say this is more in the vein of something like The Shining or Blair Witch or something where there's like a mystical, supernatural terror.
Right.
Yeah, that's the part I didn't like. That's the part I could barely tolerate.
Whereas some horror is just like oh, there's a killer and you gotta not get murdered.
I bet you would like The Outsider. Did you watch The Outsider on HBO with Jason?
No, but I did watch The Outsiders and enjoyed that.
Well, that's
Stable
also
Pony Boy.
Yeah, that film is also upsetting at times. But no, The Outsider is pretty cool. It's like a detective show with a. Go ahead. I didn't mean to step on you.
Oh, no, it's fine. I was just going to say The Outsiders was, I refer to that movie as a total loss of innocence for me because I don't know when it came out. I may have seen it in the theater, but I was too young. And it was the first time I ever understood the concept of stabbing. Yeah. And I feel like as a child, you're either someone who knows about stabbing and then you cross that, or doesn't know about stabbing, and then you cross the Rubicon and your whole world changes. And there's a world in which you could be stabbed.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's tough for me.
I'm trying to think when I learned about stabbing. Every girl remembers where she was when she learned about stabbing. I really enjoyed The Outsiders, and I don't. So I must have already been indoctrinated into the world of stabbing. But I know I have a somewhat similar story. And this is about to get very dark, and I haven't even introduced Tony yet. Welcome back to your first Thursday show back.
Yay! Thank you.
Welcome back, Tony.
Thank you.
But anyway, my mom grew up in Northern California, and like someone nearby across the street from her, there was a sniper in the neighborhood, and they got shot or something. And so she was very traumatized by this story, and I mean, as one would be. So I know that a world where a sniper could just be lurking and shoot someone, I do actually clearly remember where I was when that could happen. But here's the weird thing about that story. And I feel like I could just go onto like newspapers.com and find it probably. But when you think sniper, don't you think someone who's like been hired, possibly law enforcement, and has a target in mind versus this was like this is more like a random shooting.
Yeah.
I think of military. I think of like a sniper in a war situation.
Possibly she's been misusing the term sniper this whole time. I think this was just a random person with a gun in the neighborhood. I'm going to need to get more detail.
I think it means the type of shooting it is, because there was the DC sniper. Remember him?
Oh yeah.
And because he shot people from rooftops, right?
Yeah.
No,
So-
Right.
the DC sniper shot from the trunk of his car. He had modified the trunk of his car.
Yeah, that's right.
Jeez. Okay.
Also,
I actually-
very hot,
That's
very
right.
attractive.
My cousin was engaged to a guy. They didn't end up getting married. A guy who was one of the first people shot by the DC sniper. And the bullet, because this was in Seattle. He started in Seattle. And he like drove down to like Arizona, and the bullet was like lodged. He was still lodged in his head. Didn't kill him, but he like has the bullet in his head. Yeah.
Did they get married? Or were they only engaged?
They ended up not getting married. But
Because
he couldn't marry
this?
some loser with a bullet in his head. Sorry, hey, I mean, if you're the kind of person that's going to have a bullet in your head, you know what I mean?
Think of all the times you go through the airport security. You're just like,
Yeah, you
always
don't wanna
waiting
deal with
for
that.
guy.
I don't want to
Yeah.
deal with that
It's
shit.
annoying.
Yeah.
You know?
Daniel, sorry, I'm revealing all your stuff, but I've already revealed it on
boy.
this show. Without your permission, I'm sorry, but it was okay. So Daniel has a hernia, which may be repaired sometime when they're doing that
Minor.
kind of
It's not a
non-COVID
big
stuff.
deal.
What?
It's not a big. It's just like a little.
Yeah, but is that, I mean, it's been a while since we've been in an airport, but is the mesh they're going to put in going to hold us up, much like your cousin's fiance's bullet would have?
Is it metal?
I don't know.
actually know. I would imagine it's
You
not.
might.
Well,
How's your hearing, by the way? You've got a hernia and you lost
I
your
know
hearing.
it was quite eventful few weeks there for me. Hearing is good, thank you.
Good.
Okay,
Good.
Yeah. So I can hear that. I was informed by the ear, nose, and throat doctor that the eardrum is a miraculous part of the human body, and that it heals really easily. Who knew?
All right.
Doesn't
there
it
you go.
seem like I challenge doctor listeners to prove me wrong. I feel like every doctor you go to, especially if they have a specialty, is like the blah, 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 fill in the blank is a miraculous part of the body. Like there's no one who's like, you know, the uterus, it's a bag of shit. The spleen, well, maybe I feel like you don't have a lot of people who are into the spleen.
Yeah, like
but
who's
in
the spleen
general,
spleen doctor?
yeah. In general, they're just going to say everything is miraculous.
It's
I
because
was
that's
just
where their
thinking that.
focus has been.
I know.
You know, the foot, the ear, the eye.
Yeah.
They have to buy into what they've made their practice, their life's work.
I'm just
Yeah,
glad she's
confirm-
enthusiastic about it.
It's confirmation bias. So
Well, yeah, I mean,
Tony,
yeah.
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, if you spend your formative years studying something, you must be pretty into it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
One thing, you know, you can't really mail it in, I guess, right?
Right.
You have to think it's fascinating.
I think about, it's about to get very personal. I think about the doctor so I had one OB when I gave birth to Elliot, merely a week after I'd seen Joe. And then we moved. And then also I wanted a different experience. It's a longer story, although I've documented it all on the podcast, I think. And so I had a different OB for my second. But for my first one, I was very worried about tearing.
That's too much
And-
information.
I was very worried about it because it just sounded like
Painful.
painful. What did you say, Daniel?
Yeah, painful.
Painful. Yeah. There's not a lot of women I had talked to who had given birth who really like strongly endorsed tears and stitching and all that stuff. So I really was wanting to avoid that. And I remember the doctor being like, what are you worried about? You know, I want to get it right the way she said it. That vagina, it really snaps back into place. She did that. Patreon.com/AlisonRosen with her hands. Put her hands, like sort of if you were going to do the like church and steeple interlacing her fingers. It really snaps back into place. It tightens back up. And I think that she thought that I was worried about like the integrity of my vagina for future sexual endeavors or something, when really it really only had to do with pain. So I don't get what was so confusing about that. But anyway, moving on.
Well, I just have a quick question.
Yes.
Joe, do you have pregnant ladies wanting to meet with you in order to induce their pregnancy often, or is it just has the word not gotten out? Your powers of, you know.
Yeah, that women will come into the bar that I just opened and say, "I'm not hungry, but this thing just won't move." So what can you do? And we
Could
talk
use
for
your
a moment,
business.
and sometimes it drops right there.
Wow.
Very exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. We had to redo the floors a few times, but
Worth it. It's worth it.
Some bars have peanuts on the floors. Some have
we have
placentas.
placenta. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tony, welcome back. Like I said
Thank
before,
you.
this is your first episode back after your tour that did not go as planned. And on our Patreon episode, we got into all the details. But why don't you quickly just fill everyone in case people are like, "What's going on?"
Okay. Yeah, I'll try and do the quick version, even though there's lots of parts to it. But yeah.
You can do the
you know.
full version if you want.
Well, it was just,
we got a lot of time to kill here, Tony.
I'll try and do it, not so slow and boring. So I drove to Michigan. It took me like 2.5-3 days to do that drive before Christmas. Gonna stay at my sister's house, and then took the dog with me. My parents were coming there also, and then they were going to take the dog back to Virginia and watch him while I was on tour. And my tour was starting in Chicago, and I was only like 2 hours away from Chicago. So after Christmas, then I go to Chicago. Actually, no, I take that back. Went to Grand Rapids first. We had a warm-up show in Grand Rapids, which was the only show we actually ended up playing because the first date of the actual tour, COVID struck like it did everywhere else. And at first it was just our singer. And then, fast forward a couple of days, and then 4 of the 5 of us got it. And at first we just canceled a couple shows. Then the whole thing got postponed completely, and now the dates have been moved to June and July. So hopefully those happen. I really hope. So yeah, and then I had to do the 2.5-3 day drive just weeks after I did it again, which I didn't mind doing the drive, but I didn't expect to have to do it again so quickly. So
That's a bummer. I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah.
But here's a bright side for Tony. Here's a big bright side for Tony. It doesn't have to do with the tour, but it does have to do with his podcast, which is that my really coolest friend in the entire world, her name is Bonnie, and she finds all the podcasts to listen to that are cool. And you can find her at Fierce Grandma on Instagram. She has a great Instagram. And she was like, listen to this podcast about these bizarre albums. And I was like, okay, I listened to everything you send me. And I open it up and I'm like, it's Tony. It's Mashpucha. It's family. I felt so proud. I listened to all of them. It's a fantastic.
To all of them? Wow.
I think I listened to a lot of them. It's a fantastic. I want you to do the Kids from Fame. We can talk about it. It's not that bizarre.
Okay, yeah.
But it's a live album. But great job. So
Thank you.
You drove back, but you still have, without touring, but you still have your podcast.
I do, yes. Thank you very much. That's very nice of you. I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome. You're welcome.
And the upside is that now you're back and I'm in your life again.
Yeah,
Because-
there was something lacking, and I couldn't put my finger on it, and now I know.
Was there an Allison-shaped hole in your heart?
Yes.
Okay. Sound a little more sure, please. Because we've gone through this, but you were so looking forward to getting out of here.
Yeah.
I took it
I mean,
personally.
not the show, but just in town in general. I just
get
it's
it.
been a shitty couple of years, and I was really looking forward to just going out and doing what I really enjoy doing. Not that I don't enjoy doing this, but
Just getting
it's
as
a
far away
different-
from Alison as possible.
It's a much
Gee
different
whiz.
side of my life, and I was looking forward to getting back out there and kind of hoping to get kind of like a life reset, kind of. And yeah, that didn't happen at all.
It's just, you just put a postponement. You press the snooze button
Yeah.
on the reset.
I'm trying to take the attitude of, well, I still have something to look forward to now.
Yeah. Of course.
We'll see.
Excuse me. You're on this show. I feel like you should be happy.
You're on Bonnie Morrison's radar for podcasts.
At Fierce Grandma. Okay, so speaking of things that are depressing, me. No, that came out wrong. I meant to say I'm depressed. I didn't mean to say I'm depressing. But really, at what point? I mean, it's kind of the same thing at a certain point. But anyway, so for the last 3 days, have been taking these midday naps and falling into a deep sleep where I have crazy dreams and I wake up and I'm not sure where I am. Like I woke up and I was looking at the curtain rod and I'm like, am I in California? Am I in New York? Or am I in Europe? Which is really fancy for my subconscious to think that might be a place I am. And then it takes me a while to wake up. Like our 4-year-old, and I think little kids in general wake up instantly and then they are 100% awake. Like I'll go into his room to get him up for school and then he'll open his eyes and like be laughing and make jokes and stuff. I at this point am like an old car where I'm just like, it's like, it's not a good car impression, but you know what I'm saying? It takes a while to turn over, which is that in itself is depressing. Like what does that physiologically, what does that mean is happening that it takes a while for all the systems to come online? But the fatigue, I am so tired all the time that I feel like I need to have my levels checked. Daniel suggested that he thinks I'm never getting a full night of sleep. And that's why I'm so tired, because I am up a lot in the night. I don't know, but I'm wondering, and I know none of us are MDs here, but could it just be that it's January, it's 3 years into the pandemic, the days are short and cold? How's everyone else's sleep and mood going? Horrible.
Also
Terrible.
yeah.
Horrible.
The whole world is having an existential crisis right now. I mean, you know, it's horrible. It's a horrible. I mean, let's get it all out. I mean, it's just, you know, it's we went from the craziest president ever to the most inept president ever. Like, so there was a guy that wouldn't shut up at the party. And now the host of the party is missing. And we're like, where does anybody know where he went? Are we supposed to be here?
Because I want to change this song like that.
Yeah. Like every governor in every other state is having to resign, or they're having a meltdown on television, or they're at odds with somebody. There's no leadership. CDC's contradicting itself left, right, and center. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. People can't get their financial footing back. Nobody knows how in danger or how not in danger we are. You know what I mean? Like, it's just an absolute mess. I mean, I'm sticking a Q-tip up my own nose multiple days a week in my kitchen, and I don't even know why I'm doing it. It
took me a second to realize what you're talking about, and I'm like, oh, interesting. Why are you doing this?
It's just, I like it. It's a thing. But no, I mean, it's just. But I'm the same way. I had COVID in the very beginning. I had a very light bout with it. I didn't even know I had it. Mm-hmm. But I had it, and you know, everybody keeps talking about these long-term COVID effects and all this stuff. And I'm like, guys, I don't know if that's what it is. I think these all sound like things that are happening when you've been in a hellscape for 2.5 years. Right. Yeah, people are tired. Nobody's motivated. We all gained weight. Like, I can't tell you how many people I know that are like, I'm 3 times the size I was.
Yep.
And I've met people. This is crazy to me. I've met people like since Delta, right? Maybe pre-Omicron or right in that time, that are fat, that are like, dude, I was not fat before COVID. Like, I was a thin like, I met people where I was like, oh, this is just a big guy. He's always been a big guy, I guess. And then he's like, no, I was quite slim 2 years ago. Like, yeah, it's wild. It's wild, you know, and everybody, you know, you eat crap because you want comfort food, and you drink too much or whatever it is. You know, some people are ODs were at like a record high at the beginning of the COVID lockdown. Like, it was the most overdoses ever.
I am wondering, am I really this sleepy, or am I like a dog that's bored? And I'm like, I could really go for 3 hours of not being awake right now. Like, part of it is that it just feels good, I think. But I also do feel very tired. What about you, Robin? Well, are you waking up and being active? I'm
a morning person, but sometimes that gets disrupted by the fact that I can't get Sam to stop snoring from time to time. So one of us will have to switch rooms. And so today, for example, it happened last night. And then today I was like, it was noon and I was like, I've got so much energy. And then at 12:15, I was like, I'm going to die. I'm actually going to die. I'm going to fall over and die. And so I did this thing, and it's going to sound really woo-woo, but instead of taking that 3-hour sort of deeper nap that gets into your subconscious, I do this thing that I learned in a yoga class called Yoga Nidra. And Yoga Nidra is, they call it enlightened sleep, so that your body is relaxed, but you're kind of hearing the recording of it. And you can find Yoga Nidra on YouTube if you want. But it basically guides you through like a 23 or so minute nap so that you wake up and you don't feel like you've just chunked out a whole part of your day. But it was hard to wait. That said, I did it today and I woke up and didn't want to wake up. And I think it's a combination of just being exhausted from this vibe, and it feels like Groundhog Day, and it's just getting to be kind of gross.
Yeah. It's,
Exactly.
I have a theory too that this, or a theory, my opinion, theory's much too
Lofty? Like me waking up and thinking I'm in Europe?
Yeah, there you go. No, but my opinion is I think that this phase of it is worse than the lockdown phase, because at least in the lockdown phase, you had to surrender to it. You were like, we're not allowed to go anywhere. And hey, I'll try to collect unemployment while I sit home. And I'll apply for this grant or this SBA or whatever. There was some relief offered and whatever. And you sat home and it was depressing, but whatever. Now it's in this thing where it's like everything's open. There's no assistance. There's no relief. But it's like, hey, man, take care. Wish you well out there, you know? And that to me is worse, because you go into places and you want to feel like you're living and whatever, and they're kind of empty still. And like, you're still seeing masks everywhere, and it just doesn't feel right, you know? So
yeah, I actually, I made a similar point on, I can't remember what show, but it's like, I feel like I'm being gaslit a little bit by the pandemics. It's like, how dangerous is it, right? What is happening? So, Joe, you're in New York. You run a bar. And and the rest of us are in California. What I've been hearing is that it feels very different in New York. Like in California, most people are still taking it pretty seriously. There's masks in a lot of places. Whereas in New York, my understanding is that it's more relaxed. Yes?
Well, I mean, you know, it's a very different environment here, period, all the time, right? So LA, one of the reasons I left LA is because I'm sort of perpetually single. And I found it to be a very isolating place. You know, it's very spread out. You're sort of segregated from other people.
Totally.
You have to, there is no walk out the front door and plug in. You have to drive to the thing, and hopefully the thing is interesting when you get there. But New York isn't like that. New York is, you're part of the ant colony or whatever. So people are taking it seriously, but at the same time, it's just people are still going to live their lives in the way they live their lives in New York to an extent. That said, you know, the bars, for instance, are not anywhere near as full as they usually would be. And Times Square is not as traversed as it usually would be. And, you know, it's definitely a lighter, emptier, version of New York, but crime is back, so that's good. You know?
Oh, thank God! Thank God. We missed you, crime.
Yeah. I was talking to Eddie Pepitone today because he's coming out here for something, and he was like, "I'm excited, man. People are getting pushed in front of subway cars again."
He's the best.
Yeah, he rules.
So I'm going to do something unprecedented for my show, except I've discovered recently that my memory is not what it was. So I imagine a listener is going to write in, or however they communicate with me, and be like, actually, you have done this before, but I think it's unprecedented. I want to do a segment, yes, please, or oh, please. And I'm going to do the same item we did last week, because I feel that I don't feel satisfied from what happened when we did it last week. So I don't think I've ever done this. Now, Joe, I don't know if we've done this segment with you on the show.
Okay.
But I am going to mention something highly controversial, and I don't want to hear diplomacy. I want to hear your hot takes. I want to hear what you really think. People have been canceled for less.
Okay.
And then so you either say, yes, please, if you like it, or oh, please, if you don't.
He said, yes, please, give me some of that. Oh, please, that's much crap.
I think I understand. You're going to mention a thing that's controversial, and I have to say whether I like that thing or if I don't.
Like,
And
for example,
It's very high concept, and I'm glad
Asian
you got
people.
yes, please.
Okay. Well, that's the kind of
That's the bad one, right? No, I'm kidding.
Now, on your show,
All right. Yes,
Taste
okay.
Buds with
Yes.
Sal Vacano, you guys do a lot of debating too. So I think this will be up your alley. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Coconut jelly beans.
Oh, please.
Say more.
Oh, say more.
Yeah, tell me why you feel so strongly.
Even the description is disgusting. It sounds revolting to me. I
right.
believe coconut is a rotten fruit
Oh my god,
that has almost no place in anything,
gross.
let alone jelly
Wow.
bean. Who the hell would eat a full flavor of coconut? Oh, that's disgusting. That's like when people eat Mounds bars. I want to smack them.
Oh, so you're please to coconut in general.
I guess it has its place, but I think coconut really ruined. I have a bit of a lactose intolerance the older I get, and I got some dairy-free ice cream the other night, and it was made with. I didn't know this until I started eating. It was made with coconut milk, and I threw it. I took 2 bites and threw it away. It coconut is like mint or dill. It just infects everything when it's in the dish, and if you don't like that flavor, then you're shit out of luck, you know. So.
I mean, this is the argument that Daniel makes about raw onions.
Yeah, I feel like raw onions are the arrogant vegetable. So it's all about the fucking onion. Oh, look at you.
I mean, I love raw onions, but I get it. You know what I mean? And I like dill. Well, I like dill flavored things. I don't like I hate when the herb dill is actually in
Same.
like salad or whatever. But I hear you. You're right. You can't, if you don't like onions and onions are on it, forget it, man. You know, it's like.
But that's true about coconut. I had a same situation. I had a vegan milkshake, and I was like, "Oh, this is whatever flavor you're getting a coconut milkshake."
Yeah.
You know,
But Daniel, you like coconut. I feel like when we started dating, you had two strong opinions. Pears are good, and coconut is great.
I felt like coconut was underrated, but things have changed. That was a long time ago.
Okay.
And I've actually come to feel very strongly that I really only like fresh coconut.
So no coconut jelly
and
beans
I really
for you.
don't like artificial coconut flavor. I that's actually a kind of a turnoff of a taste. It's like not, they don't do it right.
Well, that's a great point too, because coconut is one of those fruits. It's like banana. The artificial version of it is you can taste the chemicals. Like you can taste that this was concocted. And for some reason, other fruits aren't like that. But man, like coconut, banana, like.
Yeah,
ugh.
banana is same. Yeah,
Ugh.
the artificial
Now-
version of it is bad.
Yeah.
I have when I go to the tropics, I wear a coconut bra. So that is what. But I don't like coconut in my shakes or my ice cream either. But I do love my coconut bra. It just shows everybody that you're ready for a party. A coconut bra and a floral skirt.
Where are you with coconut jelly beans, Robin?
Absolutely not. No,
Wow.
please. Oh, please, no. Because also, what is a jelly bean? Is it gelatin? Like, we've been eating... I mean, just start with a jelly bean and then adding coconut. It's like two of the worst things. I was never into them as a kid. My sister...
Okay.
I think my sister's theme to her bat mitzvah was literally jelly beans.
Good Lord.
So... I just, I was just like, really? You're going to read the Torah and become a woman and give everybody jelly beans? That seems so lame.
Cool as
So I guess
fuck.
I'm really anti-jelly bean. And then if you add coconut's just a terrible flavor. I just had like a meal bar, a meal replacement bar, and I didn't know what I was eating. I was like, this tastes weird. And I looked at the thing and I was like, because it has coconut in it.
Oh my God. Coconut, you're unwelcome at this table, except I will welcome you. This is the kind of spicy fire hot takes that I was looking for. And my guests were wonderful last week, but they met the coconut jelly bean with kind of a shoulder, like they weren't into it, but not, they didn't, they weren't, they didn't feel, they weren't so polarized by it. Tony.
I also, Robin, you make a great point. The audacity of the jelly bean, that it's still coming around. It's been outdone by so many candies. Mike and Ike, better version of a jelly bean. Skittles, better version of a jelly bean. Sour Patch Kids, better version of a jelly. Like it's so like the gelatin candy is so there's so many better options. And then you get this. Yeah, my mom sent me a bag of the old school, what are they called? Bally's or whatever. Jelly, the ones you get at Easter.
Oh yeah.
Brock's.
Or Brock's, whatever the hell they're called.
Oh,
yeah.
Big ones.
BRACHS.
Yeah, and it was
Brock's.
like late one night and I was like, this will be fun. And I had like 3 and I was like, this is not even worth the squeeze on this. And that was it. I was like, there's nothing enjoyable about it.
Yeah. But people should have known that there was something up with Ronald Reagan when it came out. His favorite candy was jelly beans. Tony, you haven't weighed in.
I think me and Robin are best friends now, I think, because I'm in the exact same boat. I have never been a jelly beansman, and never will be. I don't like them at all. Never have cared about them. Yeah. And coconut.
They look cool.
Yeah, sure. They could make a nice decoration, a jar full of colorful jelly beans. But I don't care about it. And coconut also not really a huge fan of either. So put those two together and get the fuck out of here.
Yep.
All right. So I am going to knock all your socks off and blow your
You're not going to
minds.
ask me?
Oh, sorry. Daniel. I forgot about you.
Oh, I know.
I thought you had already answered.
No.
How do you feel?
I'm neutral on them.
We don't allow that.
I don't. It's like I don't hate them. I don't love them. There are worse flavors in the jelly bean bag.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
What is worse? Which one?
Black licorice.
I was going to say, aside from the black licorice one,
but But the proportion of black licorice to we just got a bag of Jelly Bellies. Which I hadn't eaten those in a while. Previously considered kind of the Cadillac of jelly beans, and I was going through them. First of all, I don't know if they've changed the formulas or what. Not as good as I remember. Kind of okay. Except they have a new flavor that I liked, which was the caramel popcorn. I thought that was pretty good. But there were like 40 flavors in this bag, and I had to divide them up because I was with the Elliot. And there were like maybe 2 of each flavor, maybe 3, except for the black licorice, and there were 8. And I just want to know, what's happening at these companies? Is there something I don't know? Are there people out there, like a lot of people, who just love the black jelly bean? And it seems offensive to put those in a bag with children, especially. Like, what kid likes a black jelly? Anyway.
This nerd. Okay.
But really, kids, that's an adult flavor. You should have adult jelly beans.
I'm going to give the opaque white coconut jelly bean a yes, please. I enjoy that. I enjoy that flavor. And the reason I thought of it was, yes, as Daniel mentioned, we recently got a bag of Jelly Bellies because Elliot has a big rite of passage for him. He has received a gumball machine. And we had to put something in it that I don't think is at gumball level yet. But so anyway, and when I saw the bag and I saw the black jelly beans and I saw the white coconut jelly beans, I remember that at the school I went, you were not allowed to say that you liked black licorice jelly beans because only some kind of loser would like those. And people felt just as strongly about the coconut jelly bean. Those two, and I'm hearing this echoed here, which is just mind blowing to me. Those two were seen as incredibly offensive flavors that no one likes. And I don't understand. I get that I like black licorice, but I get that is a flavor that doesn't mix well with other flavors, really. But I feel like that coconut one goes well with all the flavors. I think all of you are wrong, but I appreciate your willingness to discuss with me. I'm crazy?
Sure.
Oh, my God. It's like we don't have an outro for this segment, but if we did, I teed it up. I teed up an outro that we don't have. That was yes, please, or no, please. Okay. Anyway, you know something that's not polarizing at all and that you will love? It's Cometeer coffee. This episode is sponsored by Cometeer. Cometeer is the first coffee you melt to make. It's delicious quality coffee that's ready in seconds. Cometeer's freshly brewed coffee arrives flash frozen inside the world's first 100% curbside recyclable capsule. It's super simple to melt your way to hot or iced coffees, lattes, and so much more. No machines or expensive equipment needed. It's simply incredible, fuss-free, mess-free coffee. So it's really, I would say innovative, actually. People who know coffee know the best beans, the best temperature to brew it at, the best way to make the best coffee, take it, and then they freeze it in these tiny little capsules. So it arrives and you put it in your freezer right away. We have a bunch in our freezer. And then when you want your coffee, so it's like, you're not going to mess it up. It's perfectly made.
You don't need a machine.
Frozen. Yeah. And then you either put it in, what I've been doing is I put the ones that I want in the refrigerator the night before. And then in the morning, when I want hot coffee, I just put some water in you just get hot water, put the little coffee thing in it, and then you have delicious coffee that tastes like only the best and most expensive coffees in LA. That's when I taste it. I'm like, oh, this is the flavor of that coffee where you're like, oh, I'm getting some kind of person in a lab coat made this for me and it tastes perfect. But then, and I haven't been drinking iced coffee lately, but now that I have Cometeer, I've gotten into iced coffee too. It's really delicious. And I look at my coffee machines because we have a few machines and I think, don't need you anymore. Cometeer brings you the best coffee on the planet. It's incredible, but don't just take my word for it. Experience it for yourself and try the coffee you melt to make, brewed exclusively in partnership with award-winning roasters. And we've got a special deal for you. Save $20 off your first order when you sign up at cometeer.com/bestfriend. That's Cometeer, COMETEER.com/bestfriend. And we thank Cometeer for sponsoring the podcast. I also want to tell you guys about Songfinch. So Songfinch is this company where you can create a personalized radio quality song full of details about your life. It's the perfect gift for your spouse, mom, best friend, grandmother, child, honestly, anyone that is special to you. It's especially a great gift for Valentine's Day for the person that has everything. So I have ordered a song for someone on this show. It has not arrived yet. I am building anticipation from week to week. Who is it for? What's it about? No, I mean, I know, but no one else knows. And I got to choose the genre. I got to choose the tempo. I also chose one for Greg Fitzsimmons on Childish, and I chose a rap song. I chose a different genre for the Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend song, but I cannot wait for the song to arrive and for me to play it for the person who I am gifting it to. Songs are created and delivered in 4 to 7 days, and you never have to worry about shipping. Your songs are emailed to you on a unique landing page. It's really, really fun and creative. And then you can put like all these, you kind of tell them, is it about a relationship? Is it, is it about an occasion? Is it this? And you kind of give them some if I for sure want this term in there or these inside jokes or whatever. Songs are $200, but with code Alison, you get $20 off your own custom song this week only. Just $179 for a gift they will treasure forever. But hurry, you have to use the code Alison for $20 off this week only. Visit Songfinch, that's SONGFINCH.com, and use code Alison for $20 off your own custom song.
That's a good deal.
So I have to tell you guys about something that happened that was just highly traumatic for me. Small T. So this girl that I went to elementary school with contacted me on Facebook, and she said that she was going through mementos with her kids, and she found a letter that I sent her, and she thought I might want to see it. And she sent it to me. It's 4 handwritten pages that I sent her when I was written with turquoise blue ink. On blue paper, sent her when I was 14. We went to elementary school together. She went to boarding school. I went to public high school, and it was this letter, and I read it. And I know that right now, we're supposed to have compassion for our younger selves. That's kind of, I feel like I see a lot of that on Instagram, and also every therapist I've had talks about that. However, I read it and I was just like, and this is what I need to, this is a thing for therapy more than for this show, to figure out why I I just couldn't get far enough away from the person I was at 14. But it is like 97% bullshit in that letter. I had invented a whole world that I was telling her about. And I think I just feel so uncomfortable with who I was at 14. And I had forgotten just how sad that person was, that they felt that they had to like just brag and self-aggrandize so much. And I'll specifically tell you what it was.
Are you saying it's bullshit as in you think it's dumb, or it's bullshit as in you made up a bunch of stuff?
I
Just lying
exaggerated
her ass off.
I exaggerated / lied about, and I hate lies. Like honestly, in a way, it's almost like a missing link for me, in that I'm like, maybe that's why my whole podcasting and social and public life now is all about like trying to be the most authentic person I can be. It's like, because I was so full of shit at 14. So I wanted to be an actress when I was like 12 or 13, and I got a little manager, and she sent me out to be an extra on a number of, I was a background actor, and I also went on auditions, did not book anything. That's not what I told people I went to high school with, but that was the truth. I did not book anything at that point. I was an extra on stuff, but it was pretty fun to be able to miss school and like go be on set as an extra. So anyway, the whole letter
Background actor.
That's right.
I got in a lot of trouble for saying extra a few years ago.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yes.
From who?
My
Screen
friend who
Extras
works
Guild?
as a background actor.
Okay.
He got so mad at me. So, yeah.
So the whole letter is just about like, have you seen this show? It premieres on September 13th at 9 p.m. So-and-so and so-and-so. It's just like other people's IMDb credits. Like, and then it's me just saying how they're all my friends. Like, oh, I'm friends with this person. I'm friends. Just people who were in these shows that I was a extra. They're all my friends. And so in real life, Steven Dorff flirted with me a little bit in the school trailer. So I had like a years long crush on him. So I was like, have you chosen a guy yet? This friend, by the way, is gay. But at that point, I didn't know. She probably knew. But anyway, I'm like, have you chosen a guy yet? The guys at my school are pretty cool, but they are nothing compared to actors. And then I started talking about Steven Dorff, and then I told him, and then I was like, what movies and TV shows are you into? Let me know. Maybe I know those people. Is it like... Do you read teen magazines? Maybe it's uncool at your school to read teen magazines. Well, it's uncool at my school too, but it's different for me because my friends are in them.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God. That's awesome. That's great.
Oh,
Wow.
I mean,
Just
the
a
Spanish
terrible
teacher.
person.
It's so bad. It's so bad. And
that's part of growing up. That's part of growing up, is seeing like, is this going to work if I try this on? Like,
well, I think that's what it was. I think that I actually was my true self in grade school. And then in 7th grade, I suddenly went from being, I was never like super popular or anything, but I had my group of friends. And then suddenly I was an outcast for like 3 months. And it was incredibly socially devastating for me to suddenly, like, I was just like a social pariah. And weirdly, I feel like a lot of girls have this story from 7th grade. 7th grade girls turn on each other. But anyway, I think after that, I was like, well, the real me, that's not working. So I need to be some other, I don't know. But anyway, and by the way, I think I will share the letter on Patreon. Eventually I'll share it on the show as well. But I've done segments where I've read from old diaries and I could laugh at it, but for some reason I cannot laugh at this. I'm so like mortified over it. But anyway, what were you guys like at 14?
well, it's funny that you bring this up, because I'm actually like knee deep in research about a thing I'm writing about my high school years, because my high school years were particularly apocalyptic out in the valley in the very early 90s, with earthquakes and whatnot, and fires and floods and everyone dying. But I found like all of my...
Oh, amazing.
I found a lot of spiral notebooks with a lot of feelings in them. And it's every single one, there's like a common theme, which is like, so-and-so hates me. Like, I just thought everybody hated me. And so we're figuring out who we are at that point, especially as girls. And that's why you got to write in that diary and just kind of write until you figure it out.
Yeah. I think I should just find my diaries from that time, because I don't think I was lying in my diary. This was a press release I was putting out. And also the girl that I was writing to was not one of my close friends. Like I'm wondering if
you wanted her to tell other people about how you wanted her to relay the information about how amazing your life is to everyone else.
I don't know what it was. It's just I had like repressed this part of my development when I was just such an asshole.
I mean, I think about how grateful I am that social media didn't exist when I was that age, and I mean, like these kids coming up now, for the rest of their lives, they're going to be confronted with these flashes way more than you with this letter that was just this fluky thing. I mean, my God, all the different pages on the internet that it will just exist with just embarrassing shit.
Joe, what were you at 14? I guess what I'm wondering is, I think some people actually kind of were their authentic self already at that point.
No, I mean, not really. I mean, I guess in the sense that I was already like sort of performing and being, artistic and stuff in different ways. And 14 was definitely when I started to realize my sense of humor and stuff like that. But like any other kid, I was terribly insecure. I was not good with dating or like talking to girls or anything like that. I didn't really get good at that until I got into comedy, because that was what gave me the confidence to think I was potentially worth somebody's time, but no, it was not a great time. I don't look back on it fondly. I still have some friends from back then, which is nice. There's still some people in my life from back then, which is really nice. But I mean, I found those years to be, I found childhood to be quite torturous.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just remember being very overwhelmed from a very, very young age, much younger than 14, about how at the mercy of everything I was, and how little control I had, and how much I didn't want to be a part of any of it. I knew I hated going to church. I just didn't know why. I knew I hated going to school. I just didn't know why. I knew I felt like sad about my surroundings, but I didn't really know why, but I remember from a very young age begging my mom to move. Can we please move to California? I thought all my problems would be solved. But yeah, it was just terrible. Yeah. Terrible time.
And I also think there's like, when we're writing letters and having, we're all essentially having a terrible time, like Joe is saying. And then I think we write in our diaries and in our letters to our friends. I can only claim this for myself, but that it was like, it's performative, right?
Totally.
So you want to say like
100%.
Like sometimes I wrote in these diaries as if somebody was reading them, but no one was going to read them. But we're all like weirdly clamoring for attention and trying on different.
I was so needy.
Same. I mean,
yes.
But both Daniel and my sister, who I talked to about this letter, were like, imagine if it was Elliot. Think about how, you wouldn't have this, anger and all the negative stuff. But I was thinking, if it were Elliot, not only would I think it's like everything he does is cute and sweet and perfect, but I would think, well, why does he feel like he needs to be inventing an alternate reality, like inventing a fake world? I want him to feel okay with who he is outside of what he's accomplishing, just for who he is. At the same time, I'm not like, I don't know how much my parents realized what was really going on with me. But I guess to me, like, this is, and maybe everything 14-year-olds do is this, but like, this is a cry for help. This 4-page turquoise ballpoint pen written with a Sanrio pen, I think, was a cry for help. Tony, were you cool?
I was not cool. I do think there were a lot of things about me that were kind of already there that are still there, like certain things about my personality and like a lot of the thing, being into some of the things I was very into, and I was already playing drums for a long time and all that. But as I've talked about here before, 14 was also kind of the first time I was like forced out of my comfort zone kind of almost my whole life, because I grew up in a small town in Michigan. Then when I started high school is when my family moved to Virginia, and then I was suddenly the new kid in school, and I kind of shy around people I don't know very well, and I did not adjust to that very well. And then, as I talked about, also at that same time as the new kid in school, that is also when Tony Braxton became popular. So,
Oh no.
not a great combo. But so I don't know. I think there are elements of me that are similar, and I was kind of me already, but also, still a lot of work to do there, though, also.
Right.
Yeah.
Daniel?
What's the question now?
Who were you at 14?
Oh man. I mean, first of all, I just think like I don't know. I was like way up in my own head, and so it's really hard to answer that question. It wasn't until college where I feel like I got grounded in some ways. Like I just lived I look back, I'm like, I lived in a complete fantasy world in some ways. Like I had no understanding of anything to do with other people. I just had no idea. So I don't know how to, but like to the point where we were watching Yellow Jackets and they had that reunion episode, and I just feel like, why on earth would anyone ever want to do a reunion? Like why do these exist? There's a person here in the business that I went to high school with, who I had lost touch with after high school. She is someone who I was friendly with in high school and is a lovely person, very funny. And I should get together with her. It would make a lot of sense. And I don't. And I think about why, and it's because I don't want to come into contact with anyone who knew me. Because I don't want to hear, I don't want it reflected back to me what I was like in high school. And there's nothing,
because this could happen. What's happening in me right now?
Yeah, there's nothing particularly weird or anything. It's just like, I want that to just be a shadowy part of my memory, part of the evolution of who I became. I don't need to be directly confronted with all the awkwardness and bizarreness of what I feel like I probably was.
But I think actually we are supposed to accept and integrate all those versions of ourselves.
Yeah,
that's what Yoga Nidra says, right, Robin?
Yes, that's what Yoga Nidra says. It's chapter 3.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Yeah.
I feel like I have integrated it. I don't need to like go back and study it.
Well, I can say I had a really there were certain things I can't get into right now, but I had a tough road in high school, and thought of it as like this horrible, awful thing. But now that I'm like researching and doing this project and like throwing myself into it, what it's revealed to me is that, like, I mean, everyone says in the yearbook that I was singing all the time and I was cracking jokes. And so my perception of who I was, which was this troubled girl who had a big secret, actually people saw somebody totally different. You know, like I presented differently than how I thought I presented.
I mean, that's the case with me. Even now, I think back at myself as being like this just very odd person, and like, just like I said, painful in my own brain. But my yearbook, my senior yearbook, like one girl wrote that I was the one guy that every girl in school had a crush on.
There you go.
Like I was, yeah,
That's
like
pretty good.
But that has not integrated into my brain. Like I don't think of that's like, what? Who are you? Did you sign the right yearbook? Like, and I just don't want to know. I just don't want to. It's just done. It's in the past.
Yeah.
But there's a huge gulf between how you feel about how you were and how you were perceived. One of the things I was telling Alison is like, no other kid was thinking that much about you.
Yeah.
That's
you know, like you're
Daniel,
sitting here making
like
a big deal about this, but it's like nobody else gave a shit.
It's interesting.
That's pretty braggy.
Yeah.
That's braggy like my letter. Even though I'm happy for you.
No, I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to illustrate the difference between how you think of yourself and how.
I know.
Listen, I wish I knew that at any point earlier in my high school when I could have acted on it. It was literally like walking out the door. Oh, by the way, everybody thought you were cute or whatever, and it's like, oh fuck.
I grabbed my high school yearbooks last time I was at my parents' house, and I thought, oh, I can't wait to read this, and then I haven't cracked it open.
It's
in fact,
terrifying.
Our dog Wendy was nibbling on it, and I was like, go for it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine wanting to do that.
Yeah.
No, I do want to read it, but I can't do it.
You asked.
What's it? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry. I was just going to say that you asked if I was cool when I was 14, and then Daniel mentioned why would anybody want to go to a reunion. I've had no desire. I haven't gone to any of my high school reunions, but the coolest I ever felt in my life, though, was when my 10-year high school reunion happened, and I got to respond saying, I can't come. I'll be on tour in Australia with my band.
Nice.
Oh, yes.
That felt good.
Great. Did you say it in an Australian accent, too, to show how much you changed?
I blew it. See, now I'm going to beat myself up about that. Yeah.
I'm going on tour. I can't. What am I doing? I'm usually okay. Oh, no. I have to try
Sounds like
again.
a beetle.
No.
Try it again.
No,
You can do it.
No, I did. I sounded like Get
Going
Back.
on tour.
Going on tour. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rolling Stones. No, I forget it. I'll work on it.
Robin, you know what would probably help your accents? A gem supplement. Listen, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I try to take vitamins and supplements and then I quickly stop because I don't want to take pills and I just forget and blah, 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 blah. However, that's all changed with Gem. Gem is made of a blend of 15 plus whole food ingredients that give you all the essential vitamins, minerals, adaptogens, superfoods, prebiotics, and probiotics to address our modern lifestyle needs and key deficiencies, helping with total mind and body support. And I wish I had them right in front of me, but they're these little squares. It's more akin to food than it is to a pill. You chew it, and it's made from like fruits and actual food items. And the ones that I have are citrus and ginger flavored. They're very good. And I remember to take it. Nearly 90% of Americans are nutrient deficient. There is a massive misconception that just because you eat healthy, your body doesn't need anything extra. Our food system today is broken. And so even if you eat a well-rounded diet, it's impossible to get all the nutrition you need. Gem solves this issue by filling the gaps in your diet with daily nutrition in one delicious bite. Gem believes in eating your vitamins because food can't fit in a pill. And if you want to check out Gem and their seasonal favorite, Citrus Ginger Daily Essential for yourself, we have a special offer for Alison Rosen's new best friend audience. Go to www.gemvitamins.com/bestfriend or enter best friend at checkout for 30% off your order. That's gemvitamins.com/bestfriend for 30% off your first order. Thank you, Gem. So Joe, tell us about the bar that you opened, the bar restaurant.
Sure. It's called DeRosa's. It's on the Lower East Side in New York City. My favorite neighborhood in New York City. And, it was kind of born out of the real height of the pandemic. And it was something that I always wanted to do. And I got to talking to my buddy, Paul Italia, about it, who's one of the co-owners of the Stand Comedy Club in New York. And I very passively mentioned the idea to him that I wanted to kind of do this sandwich shop sometime. And he was like, let's do a pop-up at the club. And we did, and people liked what we were doing. So then we started talking about opening a brick and mortar. And we both are big fans of neighborhood bars, sort of old schooly types of bars. And we found a spot and we opened up, and we've been open since Black Friday was opening day, and we wanted to create an environment where people could get awesome, like, neighborhood old school sandwiches that were really good and really filling and really quality for a really great price, because they're for some reason harder to find than they should be in New York. And we also wanted to create a true like neighborhood bar that like really functioned like a social club for people and felt like something from sort of yesteryear. And again, was affordable, and you could hang out and have a great time, and the bartender, and you talk to the people sitting next to you, and it's very communal, and it's so far coming together like that. That's the vibe that it's been, and it seems to keep going and getting stronger and stronger. And I'm very, very proud of it. I'm very, very proud of it. So
that's so cool.
Thanks.
I think of that as a really hard business to get off the ground.
Yeah,
it's daunting. It's a lot. Once it's rolling, it's like anything else. I always say, had I known what it would take to get it rolling, I probably wouldn't have done it. That's not a regret in any way. I just know my personality, and had that all been presented to me when I thought like that, this will be fun, I would have been like, I'm not doing this. This is crazy.
Are you talking about like licenses and paperwork and that kind of stuff?
It's everything. I mean, it's just you're spinning so many plates, and but you're not only spinning plates, every plate, in order for it to keep spinning, is relying on the next plate to keep spinning. So that's not a great feeling when you're like, we need this thing from over here, and we need to get the certificate or the whatever for this, but we can't get that until this guy gives us this. Yeah. And we're waiting for him to give us this because we're waiting for this lady to get us that. And it's just, and you have these, me and my partner, Paul, we had these shared documents on our iPhone to-do lists. And they were just so massive. And like, as we got closer and closer and you check things off, like I remember the day that we were like, dude, we're down to like 3 things. Like we're almost there. And I was supposed to go do Skankfest the week before we opened. And I didn't go because I was like, man, I just feel like I need to be here right now. And that's a packed festival, and I don't want to get sick. Like, God forbid I get COVID or whatever. And I didn't go to focus on the opening of the bar. And I don't know why I'm bringing that up. I forget. There was a point to that, to me not going. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, who cares? But the point is I just remember that week very clearly. Oh, I remember what it was. I remember thinking that if I went to Skankfest, there was a thing in my head that I thought if I left town to go do something that would be fun, I would die, because I was like, this is too good to be true. That, you know what I mean? Like, right. I can't, like, it's like when you don't want to leave the house before Christmas because you don't want to get sick and you don't want to, and I remember thinking, if I fly to Houston right now, I'm going to get sick. Something bad's going to happen. Something's going to mess up this dream from happening. Like
your dream's almost coming true. You don't want to interfere.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember sitting really tight that whole week leading up, and it was wild. Like, it's been a wild, fun ride. We have an amazing staff, and the neighborhood, the customers coming in, the fans, the comedy community has been so amazing. That's so many comics coming through.
Are you there every night, pretty much?
There a lot, but it's nice because once you get a good staff going and things are started moving, it's not that you don't have to tend to anything, but you kind of then get to slip a little more into the background position, and I get to kind of go in and see that stuff is cool and whatever. And it's nice to know that if I want to bartend at the bar, I can. It's my bar, but I don't have to. In the beginning, I had to. Until we had enough people working there, so that was kind of weird, but cool, and it's just so great. It's so fulfilling. It's so, after 22 years in the horrid entertainment business, it's nice to do something that's a little more just direct line to the customer, kind of like podcasting, right? It's like, it's nice to be able to do something you can just give to the person who wants it,
right? Yeah,
and there is no BS, there is no, it is what it is. Either it's a good product or it's not. And
I've seen some very delicious looking sandwiches on Instagram.
Thanks.
Are you involved, or like are you doing the menu? Who's designing these sandwiches?
Yeah, no, I made the whole menu up when I lived in LA, and they were sandwiches I would basically make for myself when I lived in LA because I couldn't find them in LA. And I just, after you do it a few times, you're like, this is pretty good. I should write this down so I don't forget what the ingredients are. And then you have another one and another one. And then after a while, I was just like, oh man, it'd be cool to have a little sandwich shop, and I could have these 8 sandwiches, and that would be kind of the core of the menu. And, and then we went through rounds of testing them in New York with Paul and I. His dad's from Sicily, so we had his dad come in to try the sandwiches. Mm-hmm. We'd give them out to the waiters and waitresses at the stand and the bartenders and stuff to see what everybody thought. And once we started getting like the consistent reaction of people being like, wow, dude, this is really good, we were like, okay, I think like we're ready. I think we finalized these recipes and made the adjustments we needed to make. And then we also worked for 2 months on perfecting the bread, because we bake the bread every morning fresh.
Oh yes, nice. I've seen notices like we run out of bread.
Yeah. We break it fresh and we sell them till it runs out. But there's still booze after sandwiches run out. So there's always something.
So cool.
But yeah, that was like it's been a wild. It's fun. It's cool.
That's really cool. Nice. Not everyone, or a few people, I feel like, can say that they started a whole new endeavor during the pandemic. Yeah. So good job.
Well, I mean, I feel very lucky. I almost feel guilty because it's been hard on all of us. And obviously it's been much harder on some people than others. And I feel very blessed that I was able to have the stars align and kind of slip into something that was able to happen or whatever. That's luck. I'm very lucky for that. And I'm very, very appreciative of that. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know about you guys, but like the pandemic made me really start to think like, what do I want to be doing with my time? Mm-hmm. I don't want to be emboldened. I love doing stand-up. I don't want to be emboldened to it anymore. I don't want to be, is that the right word? Emboldened? Beholden?
Beholden.
Beholden. Sorry. Yeah. What's emboldened mean?
Emboldened would be like it's making you be more bold.
Okay. Okay. I'm not a bright man. I didn't want to be beholden to it anymore, in the sense of like rolling my eyes and saying like, I have to go do whatever the gig is, because if I don't, I can't pay my rent. And I really had gotten into a rut where I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And I was like, it had just become a job. And I know for the people listening that don't do stand-up, that probably sounds absurd. How dare you say stand-up is just a job? What a lucky job. But, I talk about it on stage. I was in Buffalo this week and I was talking about it. I was like, guys, this show, the show, this is great. This is 10% of the road. Mm-hmm. The other 90 is getting here alone in the hotel room, the dealing with your own feelings in the solitude, the weather, the being away from your stuff and your life and whatever. I drank too much last night because I was bored and I didn't know what else to do. And I didn't want to just go sit in the hotel, or I ate Burger King at 2 a.m. because it was like a fun thing to do. You know what I mean? Like there's so much stuff to it. And, I don't know. I wanted to start working towards having a more stable life that I could control. And the oddly enough, opening a bar is helping me do that. I don't understand how, but it is.
That's so cool.
Has your relationship to the city changed now that you like own a business there? And
yes. In what sense do you mean?
I don't know. I would think I would start to feel more like integrated into the city. Like the city would become more a part of you than just simply living there.
Yeah, it definitely. I feel like 100% New York is my home now. And I always knew that this is where I was supposed to be, but I never felt that I could really call it home because I wasn't from here. Mm-hmm. But that was the other thing I realized during the pandemic, that I wasn't living in New York because of stand-up. That's what I thought I was doing. I was living in New York because I wanted to live in New York. Stand-up was a nice perk that went along with that. So yeah. And when New York types come through, and it's pretty cool. Like it's pretty cool when somebody comes through that's like been living in the neighborhood for their whole life, and they're 60. And, you know, we have a guy named Charles. He's 72. He lives right in the neighborhood. He eats, I'm not kidding, he eats 5 sandwiches a day sometimes. And he's completely fit. It's wild. He looks like he's 58 years old. He's 72. He's fit.
What's his secret?
I don't know. He comes in and he gets them throughout the day, and he'll get the same sandwich sometimes 5 times. He'll get tuna with extra onions. And he's always like, I mean, extra. Like he's very, very
anti-Daniel.
Yeah. But like, you know, a guy, and he works at the body shop around the corner from us that I've taken my car to. Like, and he's.
You have a car in the city?
I do. I have a Jeep that I keep in a garage.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
it always strikes me as a real pain in the ass. I mean, it can be nice when you need a car, but just having to park and repark and all that.
No, I keep it in a garage, and I needed one when it came time to when I started having to make trips to buy salami in bulk in Queens. Like,
I was just going to say, where does one go for salami? Daniel, the way Joe is talking about thinking he needed to be in New York for his career, but then realizing he just wants to be in New York. You know, that's me someday.
About L.A.
Moving
or
back
New
to
York?
New York.
Oh. Well, honey, I'm willing to move back to New York. Move to New York as long as you're getting that sweet paycheck.
Yeah,
it's going to make living in New York tolerable.
Okay.
Can I ask Joe a quick question about Skankfest?
Sure, yeah.
What is Skankfest other than high school?
No, there's a podcast called Legion of Skanks, and it's it's 3 comics, and they do a festival called Skankfest. And they did the first. They usually do it in New York, but they did the first one on the road. That doesn't, you know what I mean? Not in New York, and it was in Houston. Yeah. There's a great venue in Houston called the Secret Group. That's run by artists. It's an amazing, amazing venue. And the Secret Group does their own festival there, which is awesome. Called the Come and Take It Fest. But that's what it's Skank. But it was a lot of great comics. Actually, Bob Saget was there, sadly. And Eddie Pepitone was there, I believe.
The best.
It was a cool Jay Okerson, and you know.
Skankfest and Come and Take It Fest complement each other. That's all I'm going to say. They go hand in hand. Fests go.
But wasn't there a festival concert with ska bands called Skankfest 100 years ago?
Oh, very possible.
And the funny thing is, when you said Skankfest, it made me think of Dill because of that band Skank and Pickle, and you had discussed Dill, and like for some reason, Skankfest, I will just always think of pickles.
Few things are worse than the names of ska bands.
I know.
Just the worst.
Say hello and welcome to my new patrons.
Oh, man, I'm out of practice. Where's that song?
Oh, man, you're fired.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Alison wants to say thank you to a couple of special people out there who signed up to be new patrons. Patreon.com/AlisonRosen.
I would like to say hello and welcome to Fonts Faluda, to David DeVries, Mark D'Antonio, Michael Dyer, and Courtney. Hello. I hope you're enjoying the bonus content, the access, the whatnot, and whatevers. And I want to remind everyone, if you sign up for an annual subscription, you get 2 months free. So 12 months for the price of 10. Okay, let's do a little iTunes comments of the week. Now, I read a positive one, which is sort of like the letter that I wrote when I was 14. It always feels self-aggrandizing because I am, reading someone giving me compliments. And then I like to read a negative one. I did not have a negative one this week, which is good, but then it makes this even more self-aggrandizing. So again, I say to you guys, I laugh at the negative ones. Feel free to send a negative one. Just if you're the kind of hater who does listen every single week to everything that I put out, God bless you. Just leave us like 5 stars so you're not hurting the show that you love to hate, and then say whatever you want.
It's a great idea.
Let's hear. Daniel, just read one.
All right.
Alison wants your iTunes comments. Alison wants them, yes she does. Please leave her some iTunes comments and don't forget to click 5 stars.
Should I read the long one or the short one?
Let's do the long one. Let's really bask in it.
Okay. I love this show from Super Fuzz. Longtime listener and fan here, just popping in to leave a 5 stars only review. This week's episodes were top notch with Jenny Pentland, Roseanne's daughter, for the in-depth Monday interview, and then a refreshing and fun hangout with the Bananas Boys, Scotty Landis and Kurt Braunohler. Great times to be had. Alison keeps on giving so much reliable entertainment week after week, year after year, technically for me now, decade after decade. Impressive. Do not sleep on this pod.
Thank you so much for your very nice comment. Leave us a comment if you haven't on Apple Podcasts. Or, as it turns out, and this just shows how old I am, I didn't realize that, like, basically probably whatever app you're listening in, there is a way to rate the podcast. So do that if you haven't, because it helps the show. You guys, this has been...
Oh, that is Daddy.
Oh, Owen. Hi. Oh, he can't hear. He can't hear me.
Hi.
Hi.
It's Mommy.
Hi, Owen. Hi. What you doing? Do you want to say hi to everyone, Owen?
Hey,
Say hi, Robin.
Hi, Owen.
All right.
Owen,
That
can you
little
say
voice.
hi?
Hey.
Say hi, Joe.
Say hi, Joe.
Hi, Owen.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Owen.
He's adorable. Wow.
Oh my God, that little voice.
I know. I think might be one of the first times he's been on the show.
Yeah.
We've had some Elliot
really
a while
cute.
ago. But
Yeah, I don't
forgot to
remember
lock
it ever
the door.
happening.
Yeah. Oh.
It's like when Maya Rudolph is at the end of her mom's Minnie Riperton's recordings talking. Little young Maya Rudolph. And it's a delight. It's a delight.
Does
funny.
Elliot want to say hi?
I think he's still getting his
But he's
pajamas
like,
on.
fuck no.
Okay.
I'm not getting on the fucking podcast.
Thank you guys so much. This was so much fun. It was so nice
Thank
having
you.
you on the show. Tell everyone, we'll go around and tell everyone where they can find you or follow you or plug anything you would like to plug, etc. Robin, what about you?
I'm just a person who is on Instagram most of the time at Robin Shorr, ROBINSHORR. And sometimes I'll put up some great content and other times I won't.
I know I'm ending, but real fast, I have to say. So we talked at length about Steve Guttenberg the last time you were on.
Yes.
Because you
My
had
co-star and friend.
Yeah, you had been in a Hallmark movie with him. And I was trying to remember, Joe, I'm wondering if you remember this. When Steve Guttenberg was dating dating this girl who used to go on Red Eye back when you and I both went on Red Eye. Do you know,
Okay.
do you remember this? Anna Gilligan? Does that name ring a bell?
I know who she is. I'm not recalling that she dated Steve Guttenberg, but yeah.
Yes.
In fact, I think I'm not sure. I think I still hang out with Bill Schultz from Red Eye, and I think he might have been telling me she was in town. I don't know. Maybe I might be making things up, but yeah.
No,
Anna.
that sounds about right. Yeah, she with because then we Googled
She an
him.
author?
And no, she hosted a Fox News.com show or so. Maybe she went on. Maybe she went on to be an author.
Okay.
But anyway, that was just a weird blast from the past. He ended up with someone else.
Yes.
Who made awesome.
Very
movies,
happily,
cast
it looks like.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Very
Go
happily.
him. Good for Steve Guttenberg.
Go
For Steve
Yeah.
Guttenberg.
Joe, what about you?
Joe DeRosa Comedy on Instagram and Twitter. Please come to Jellyrosa's if you're in New York, or make a trip if you're not. Go to JoeyRosesNYC.com for all the information about our hours and all that sort of stuff. And then also my 2 podcasts, Taste Buds, available on the No Press Network on YouTube. Drops every Monday, full video. And We'll See You in Hell, my movie review podcast where Pat Walsh and myself review mostly genre and horror movies. Back catalog, I think, is on Starburns Audio still. And then the new episodes are on patreon.com/WSYIH podcast.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Daniel, what about you?
Honestly, I'm so hungry right now because I was on Joe's restaurant's website, and the sandwiches look So good. So I wish I was in New York right now.
Thanks.
Yeah, so go there. I don't know. I don't have anything to plug. Daniel Quantz at Twitter and Instagram. Fuck.
Quantz.
And follow me at Alison Rosen on Twitter and Instagram, and check out my other shows. And Tony, what about you? Oh, my other shows being Upwardly Weekly and Childish. Tony, what about you?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at
Tony Thaxton.
And my super cool podcast that that Robin's
Fierce
friend-
Grandma loves.
Fierce Grandma. I could yes, there you go. Bizarre Albums every Tuesday. And yeah, and now I'm gonna keep talking about the Motion City soundtrack tour for another 6 months. So if you had tickets, those will be good. Again, if you don't have tickets, get some tickets. June
Is
and
that
July.
your band, Tony?
Yeah.
Oh, I know Motion City soundtrack. I didn't know that was your band.
He's the drummer. Look, he has a gold
Tony
record
keeps
behind
surprising
him.
all of us with his extracurricular activities.
Yeah, he has a
Yeah.
so-called gold record behind him.
Right, we like to pretend it's
That's
fake,
wild.
but it's actually
Awesome.
real. Yeah.
Oh, that's great, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you guys so much. This was so much fun. Listeners, thank you for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen show? We had a good time, but now we gotta go. Yeah, Alison Rosen is your new best